Jack in the Box.
Hello and welcome to Con Air, the podcast. I am Mark 10 minutes ago Hoffmeyer.
And I am Jay Singh Fluid. Welcoming you aboard Con Air, the podcast, chapter 28. On this show, Mark and I and some wonderful guests fly our way through Con Air in over 40 chapters, talking about what we see and all the fun that's had therein. And on chapter 28 of Con Air, what happens in chapter 28 of Con Air? Well, as the police convoy approaches, the cons make an effort to pull the jailbird from the sand. Poe continues to search for a needle for Baby-O, and Malloy shows annoyance that they haven't made it to Lerner yet. In the empty swimming pool, Garland and the little girl play with dolls, talk about mental health, and sing a little song. This is the famous Garland Green in the swimming pool episode. It's one of the shorter chapters we've got to talk about, but we have a wonderful guest to help us talk about it from Why This Film podcast, in which she is doing a whole section on Barbie films, and wouldn't you know it, there's a Barbie-like doll in this one. It seems apt to have her on the show. My second favourite person from Suffolk is Emily Slade. Emily, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'll take being your second favourite person. I'll take that.
You have to be second because my wife is from Suffolk, so
of course, yeah.
It's technically you're the first favorite because the partner gets the automatic first.
The obligation of
Who else is it going to be? Ed Sheeran? I don't think so.
Why not Ed? Why not good old Eddie S?
He's never been a guest on the show. He won't return my calls.
True.
Very true.
Yeah, we need to get to his agent again. He ditched us for Deep Blue CJ.
He did. We were going to have him on to talk about. I immediately can't think of any films.
He's a big Deep Blue Sea 2 fan.
As what he should be. Which was that was the film that you came to join us on, Emily, wasn't it? Deep Blue Sea 2.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Oh, that movie's wonderful, isn't it?
Yes.
So good.
No, so Emily, Jay and I were talking last episode, and he brought up that this girl might be just a figment of Garland Green's imagination.
I'm so glad that you said that, because if she's not, I'm like genuinely really concerned, because who is this grubby orphaned child in an abandoned swimming pool in the middle of the desert?
Well, so
like,
I think we have a name for this episode now, Jay. Emily, yeah. I think you just gave us the title for our next episode.
Well, who knows where this will go?
Yeah. You're right. Like either she's part of the cartel, or she's a ghost child,
this is
or
Cindino's
she's
niece.
Yeah, yeah. Or he made her. There's no sweat on her. Everyone else is sweating all over the place. They're not sweaty. Like, he's just looking at her. The camera work is like, there's a shot when he's looking at her that is unlike any other shot in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got it. She's got to be made up.
It's really trippy.
My theory wasn't necessarily that she was part of his imagination, but that he had some kind of a psychotic break and had gone back in time in his mind. And this was like the trailer park he grew up on. This was maybe the first person he killed that started out at his killing spree, age 8, perhaps.
Oh,
And
wow. That's so thoughtful. Yeah, I can buy it. I completely buy it, because it's so random otherwise. Like, I'd completely forgotten about this scene. You were like, oh yeah, the scene with the Barbies. I was like, this... What? I think he gets like a bunny rabbit. I don't remember Barbies. And then when I was rewatching it, I was like, oh yeah.
And I'm gonna go a step further. I'm just having this kind of realization now. I think this is Garland reliving that first interaction that's led to his killing spree, and he doesn't kill her this time. So I think this is Garland becoming a better person, and it being okay.
It is meant to be like a. Because we go.
Because he survives this film and he's out and free at the end, and I want to make that okay.
Yeah, he gets the final shot, and it's like rehabilitation. This is his moment of rehabilitation, and it's sort of been happening the entire movie. He's such an interesting character, isn't he? Because he comes on board and he's so like he's such a legend, and he's so tightly secured. But then all he does is like bizarre little... People just talk about how scary he is. We never see him do anything scary other than this moment where you are fully convinced because the teacup shatters that something horrible's happened. But then it's kind of a Hans and Frozen moment if it is rehabilitation or it is him going back in time. Because why, I don't know if that happens in this scene that we have the reveal that he's okay. She like
That's
sort
not this scene. That's a couple
of
scenes. That's because
sorry.
it's when no, it's absolutely fine.
We can talk about it though.
You're free to talk about the whole film. I've mentioned the end already. So yes,
Nice.
we see later on when the plane takes off that she's waving it and she's alive, but he's taken the doll. So
Yeah, but this thing it feels a bit cheaty. If it's his imagination or him going back in time, that's very visually cheating to be like, hey, look, audience, this little girl's fine. But so much of you already is like, but that little girl physically cannot exist in that space because someone's done some really bad parenting, if that's the case.
well, there are some people who work at the airfield who are now dead. So it's potential that she's the daughter of the guy who's in the air traffic control tower who Sandino's men have killed. And there's the
So dirty. And she's sitting in an abandoned empty swimming pool, surrounded by like really like gross toys.
She has
Like,
some fruit. There's some fruit on the table, so she's
Couple
looking.
lemons.
There's a couple of. I wasn't sure what they were.
Maybe lemons. She
Maybe,
goes full
maybe
National
lemons.
Treasure
Maybe
and has handy lemons.
yeah, perhaps. I was guessing more like peaches or apricots or something, but who knows? They could be anything. Uh, so that's like healthy food. They look like they're in good condition as well. They're not like moldy or I don't
yeah,
know.
that's true.
So whoever it is has access to fruit. Uh, they can't be all bad, sure.
She has some very antiquated clothes on, like not like older clothes on as well.
Yeah.
You know, when I was 15 watching this in the theater, I was like, this is really weird. I was like, please don't go there. Then I was just happy that they didn't go there. I never once thought that this was a dream child, but he's the only one who sees her. I feel like that's a good, like no one else sees her.
Mm.
Yeah.
She's
the
a
camera
really
work.
strange character.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, the camera work, it's fully like, it's really POV from Steve Buscemi, and it's really like trippy and sort of spacey, where, as you've mentioned before, it sort of indicates he's going on a mental break. And very much to the audience, it's like, you get the dread. You're like, oh my God. I mean, the dread is immediate because it's like, hey, we've put this guy that we've done nothing but tell you for the last 20 minutes that he's like Ted Bundy meets Ed Gein meets Norman Bates meets all of these people. Now he's like the picture of innocence in the most dodgy looking environment. What could happen? So instantly, as the audience, you're like, oh God, like, oh, I want diabetes man to be okay. Don't also put the weight of child murder on me at this moment.
I can't think of another movie that goes this way. This is like another action movie, like a silly touchstone action movie features this as like an F plot in a movie. Right?
Yeah.
Has there ever been anything like this? Like
Not that I can think of.
a serial, because you know what's interesting too, you brought up a great point, because on the plane he's very cheeky, he's monologuing. There's a deleted scene of him killing a guard, which I'm glad they kept out. But in this one, you're right, he's very much in a dream state. Like he the way his look too, like his like eyes are smoldering at this little girl, and yeah, it's
a really interesting performance as well. I think it's a fantastic performance. I mean, I love Steve Buscemi to pieces, as I'm sure everybody does. But like, she does such a good job at retaining this energy that he's then able to bounce off it quite, like, she gives so much energy and he's able to give such a concentrated minor amount of energy, where she's like, are you sick? And he's like, he's like fine. Then she asks that, and suddenly it's like, we're threatened. And he's like, why do you ask? And you're like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. It's just so
You want to see sick? I'll show you
such
sick.
a tense performance. It's so good. And she's like, you look sick. And then literally like the conversation of like the fear of like trying to explain, oh, I am sick. I horribly maim and murder people for a living. possibly you in a second. Oh God,
We'll see.
it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And I'm really glad that they have it because it's just another reason why Con Air. I watched Con Air for the first time when I was like 15 and we did like a Nick Cage day and we all got absinthe and we watched a bunch of Nick Cage movies, some better than others. And this was just in there. And I remember just not really paying much attention to it. And then coming back to it at the weekend, I was like, this movie is phenomenal. Like, this is so much fun. I'm having the best time. It's flying by and I love it. And it's moments like this that I think really set it apart. That and including How Do I Live, which is probably one of the greatest songs ever written.
And I love the controversy behind How Do I Live too, with the two people singing it. It's one of my favorite. But so if you ever have a chance, just I don't know if you know about it already, but read about the controversy of the two singers who sang it.
I was just Googling it. Because I was like, How Do I Live? That's Leanne Rimes. And then I Googled it and it was like, no. And I was like, what?
Yeah. And then also, do you think a worse movie would have, like, so at 126 in the clip you sent over, Jay, when they are kind of pulling that wide shot out of the frame and you see the pool, do you think a worse movie would have just had him by himself? Like,
yeah, I think I like the ambiguity. If they had revealed like, no, this is just in his head. I like that there's like people say this is all in his head, people say there's not, people have never even considered this to be anything other than what's being shown on screen. I love that. So yeah, the fact that it's she's there, but is she there? Is he directing this dream sequence? Is it a dream sequence? Who knows? I love the questions.
Also, between Airheads and this, Steve Buscemi has some pretty good swimming pool bits. Wait, no. Well, I mean, I guess Adam Sandler mentioned swimming pools in Airheads, and that stuck with me for a long time. And now he's in a swimming pool in Con Air. It all comes full circle, Jay.
It's such a shallow swimming pool.
Yeah, well, if you look behind him, there's a bigger one. This must be the kids' pool.
Yeah.
And then there's the one for adults behind him. Lerner's got it going on. When Lerner was popping, I bet it was a great place.
When was Lerner popping? When do we think that was? How long ago?
Listen,
how many years?
Look at these pools. Two big pools. I mean, listen, it's like Lerner is like Little Reno is what they would call it. I don't know. Maybe it was a good spot.
It's not just an empty swimming pool. It is empty. It is cracked. Like if you put water in it now, it'll be horrible. Like the base of it is
dilapidated.
And there's a chest of drawers in there with like soft toys in it. This is her regular play area. That's her toy chest. There's this old.
This has been great for me as a kid. If I had two abandoned swimming pools as a child, I would have been living the dream.
I'd quite like a filled swimming pool. I think that would have been more like closer to the dream.
I mean, it's empty. It's like you could hurt yourself in there with skateboarding.
Oh, great. Perfect.
There's so many ways. Yeah, like there's so many different ways to hurt yourself in this thing. That'd have been perfect for me. Also, hey, Fast and Furious, they race at the Salt Flats, remember? So I wonder if like back in the day they used to have races out there and people would come and stay. And then they stopped and then this place shut down. What do you think?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean it's like a plain graveyard, this place. It's weird.
Oh yeah, it is. It does have a thing called the graveyard.
They call it the boneyard, yeah.
The boneyard.
Yeah. He just to like potentially fluff the theory, the only thing from the scene that other people interact with is the Ken doll that he keeps from the interaction.
Yes.
It's then later picked up by other characters in a very natural, well-written,
strange thing to be on. So I think that the setting is correct. I think that he's walked into, maybe he's found the Ken doll on the floor, and that's like this trigger. Oh, I used to have. I remember that little girl. Her name's Debbie. She's credited as Debbie in this. I remember.
Nice.
Debbie. I killed her when I was 8. I ate her spleen. This is her Ken doll. And he just sits down and has the whole altercation between her, but it keeps the Ken doll. Doesn't kill her. He's a good guy now. It's fine that he's alive at the end and free at the end.
It is funny though, isn't it? Like, what are we? They. I was trying not to think too hard about it because I was like, plane goes boom boom, and John Malkovich goes ha ha. The movie. So I wasn't trying to be like, what are they trying to say on the state of mental health and nature versus nurture and the rehabilitation of serial killers? Is that really something that you can just decide to not do one day? Can you just turn it off, or is it like an actual mental illness? And I was like, John Malkovich's face got smushed, so I'm not going to think about it too much. But
they do start that
it's
conversation a couple of
interesting.
times. Like Cusack and Tolmini have that chat where Cusack is saying how Cyrus is a product of the system, and the lawyer's
Mm,
like, "Oh, you're one of those guys who wants to have a problem with the prison." He's like, "Yeah." So they start that conversation, but then people start dying and they stop talking about it anymore. And it's more like, "Yeah, shoot the plane down!
yeah.
Don't shoot the plane down! Shoot the plane down!" Uh,
And also too, like I feel like in movie world, major illnesses and health issues and addictions are cured quite quick. So
Mm,
in the world of Con Air, in this world, who knows? Maybe that does happen that fast.
all you gotta
If
do is
that like,
find a
I'm
doll.
not trying to
Yeah.
do like a cheat code here, but I've noticed in movies like major issues can be, you know, you can solve them with like a good family chat and a trip to the hospital. And so, that
yeah.
that pretty much cures everything. So is this his beginning of it? I still think he's going to murder people in Vegas.
Oh no, I
Hmm.
was really hoping he was a good guy now.
Maybe he's
I
only
mean,
gonna murder bad people.
Oh yeah, I'd watch Con Air too. Steve Buscemi killing bad people in Las
Dexter,
Vegas. Oh
There
my
we
Dexter
go.
God.
with
That
with
Yeah.
Garland Green,
Steve Buscemi, perfect.
and James Remar shows up and gives him all his rules.
But
He's like, "But you're not my dad." He's like, "Yeah, but Showtime has me for 2 more seasons, so I'm working on this."
but Cusack's still hunting him, and at one point they have to meet and they have a chat about he has to try and convince Cusack. No, I'm a good guy now. Yes, I ate those people, but now I'm a good guy now. I only eat bad people. They
This
taste so
is,
much better.
can you come back from eating people?
Wait, did they say that he
No,
ate people?
no, they didn't.
Is
That's,
he? Do you
Oh,
think, Emily? Do you think he's a cannibal?
I don't know. If the implication is that he is like the absolute worst thing you've ever seen, and he is compared to all of the major serial killers who did oft partake in the odd nibble of a person. They weren't fully fledged, Hannibals,
not
but they,
Wendigos.
they did make like lamps out of your skin and perhaps have a chew while they were there. I don't know, maybe I'm making that up. I got the impression that he was, I don't know, but then the things he says is so bizarre. The way he's like, why did I kill all those people? Like paraphrasing here, but like, why did I kill all those people? Because my life was going to be a 9 to 5 office job.
It's
So
such
I
a
thought
cop
I'd kill
out.
people instead. It's very paraphrasing, but this is basically what he says. He's like, going to an office Monday to Friday until you retire and then die with nothing to show for it. That's crazy. That's insane, or whatever. And you're
Might
like,
wear heads as hats.
Steve,
I'm not crazy.
yeah, he's like, I wear his head as a hat. There are so many other options. You could try freelancing, you could go to
Yeah.
university.
Just live off the
Like, I
land,
just feel
like
there's other
farm.
options before turning to ripping people's heads off and turning them into hats.
There's
Yeah,
whitewater raft guides. Like you could be
yeah.
a guide to
Yeah, so
teach
many
people
options.
skydiving.
And is it that Nick Cage being, firstly, the most attractive man on the planet in this movie?
So happy to hear you
Just
say that.
so attractive in this movie is Nick Cage.
That tank top.
It's working. Yeah.
My goodness, the hair, the tan, the eyes, the body, the way he like just really loves his wife and kid, like, the way he'll like do anything for his friends.
Hmm. And he
He's a
doesn't take
good
crap
guy.
either. He's super sassy.
Oh my God. Oh, in his military uniform at the beginning. Oh, Nick Cage, yes. What was my point? Oh, the But does Steve Buscemi look over at the likes of Nick Cage, the good side of the plane, and be like, you know what? Given a choice, I'd rather be with Nick Cage, who's exceedingly handsome, than John Malkovich, who is, not bad, but still very much John Malkovich.
He's not bad. He's evil.
Are you saying that kind of like the overall aura of Cage in this one sort of transformed him into being a better serial killer?
That's what I'm wondering, because it's like, where does it come from otherwise? Like, does our main character and our main plot have anything to do with this character's arc? Or is it in its entirely own thing where someone just wanted Steve Buscemi in the movie? And like, Steve Buscemi's journey could be its own movie. It feels so separate to the rest of it. So I'm just trying to link it in with the rest of the film to be like, why is this happening?
I know that Buscemi's buds with the guy who wrote it, Scott Rosenberg. So then they gave him this role. But I also like thinking that maybe Cameron Poe would be great for rehabilitating serial killers because he doesn't take crap from them. He could beat them up. He'll sass them. He's not overly afraid of them. He's more just tired of them. Like, he'd be a good serial killer rehabilitate. That'd be like a TV show on TLC, the Learning Channel. It's Cameron Poe rehabilitate serial killers.
I would watch that.
What
do you think, Jay?
Cool? I'm trying to think what it would be called.
Poe serial killer.
Usually something around Edgar Allan Poe, like quaff the like Raven rehabilitation.
The Poe and the Pendulum. No,
the Poe and the Pendulum.
I like it.
That was really, but I just want to go back to what you were saying about Cage, because I remember watching this in 15 and he was the trapped in paradise, the guarding test guy. And so watching him get like super like Arnold-esque or Stallone-esque, I remember going like, what is happening? Like, I was like, the Leaving Las Vegas guy is now like a level superhero. So it was a fun transformation to watch from him. And yeah, I kind of dug it. When you watch, well, I guess you were probably too deep in the Absinthe, but do you remember seeing that when you first watched it, or no? Feeling that way?
No, this is the thing, because I've never charted Nick Cage's. My like introduction to Nick Cage was that, probably was it Comedy Central? It was like a comedy skit on YouTube of like Nick Cage's agent. And it was the guy that gets steadily more frustrated with Nick Cage just saying yes to every movie. And so he was already sort of a joke. So we're talking like Nick Cage is in cinemas with The Wicker Man at this kind of time. So that's where he's at. He's like a laughing stock of cinema. But then in a couple of years' time, he'll do Bad Lieutenant. So I've not charted his progress from Darling, like Oscar's Darling, through to like some bizarre choices onward. So it wasn't a shock to me for him to be jacked in this, because we were sort of all over the place with our Nick Cage viewings. We did like Season of the Witch, we did Adaptation, probably The Wicker Man as well, Ghost Rider.
That's really interesting, because becoming a fan of his in the 2010s is a bit like Whiplash, because you'll get a Kick-Ass, but then you'll get USS Men of Courage, Indianapolis. You'll get Inconceivable, then you'll get Mandy, then you'll get Mom and Dad, and then Pig pops up. And it's just like, it's like a roller coaster of varying, like very good to just what's happening in my life type movies. Yeah, so that's kind of fun, like discovering him and like getting into him around the 2010s. Yeah, just watch it, and then he like pops up in Spider-Verse, and you're like, what's happening?
Yeah, literally, just, and then of course, most recently he's had his own movie, which I haven't watched yet, but like,
it's great.
It's really weird. It just, So, but like more than anything, he was a laughing stock, and yet there was already the argument on the other side of that of him doing really good work. And then you go back, is it like Moonlight that he's in with Cher? Yeah. That you go back far enough, Leaving Las Vegas, as you said.
Yeah. He was in some really good film, like Valley Girl in the 80s. Like, I mean, yeah.
And then
it's a very unique career.
Kiss and Face Off and all like, so yeah.
Wait, Moonstruck.
This thing, he was a mean a meme. Sorry, yeah, Moonstruck, that was it. He was a meme more before he was anything else. So yeah, really strange time
And
to
yet you talk to my father-in-law, and he says he's the same in every film.
Ah,
Just-
yeah.
Like, no, get out of
And
my
also,
house.
Joe is worth a watch if you haven't watched it.
Which one,
Joe
sorry?
is he's so good in that movie. Joe.
Joe.
Yeah, it's David Gordon Green directed. I don't know if you've watched it or not, but I think
No.
actually I think if you just I've been saying this for a while, but if you just chuck Nicolas Cage in the woods, so Joe, Mandy, and Color Out of Space, he's in the woods,
Pick.
and those are really popular, like really good movies. So just chuck him out in the woods, maybe give him like he can maybe be an arborist because he cuts down trees in Mandy and he kills trees in Joe. So like add some trees, some woods, something paranormal, maybe a revenge mission, some beer drinking, and you got like a Nick Cage class in Pig too. He's in the woods.
Yeah, so it's got to be
Nice.
the woods and not the jungle, because he's in the jungle in Primal, and that's not good.
Yeah, I mean I guess he's in the woods
It's
in
a
Wicker
fine
Man,
line.
but that's a beautiful movie.
Yeah, sort of in the woods for Wicker Man. He's an excellent father. I will say that for Nick Cage.
Yeah, yeah.
He
yeah.
came to the Have I told you this story? He came to the doors of the London dungeon when I worked there with his kid and asked if it was too scary. And we just sort of described it and explained it and said, you know, if they're nervous of the dark or things jumping out of them, we do recommend that you don't bring them in here. And so often parents will just be like, oh, shut up, kid, we're going in, and then have to leave halfway through. But he made the very sensible decision to not come in, and he went on his merry way along the South Bank.
Ah, what a great guy.
Nice.
Yeah, really good guy.
I thought you meant
I
he's
wish I
a
could have
great
worked
dad
on one of
in
his
this
movies.
film. Where he's trying
He
to
is
get home
a
to his
great
kid.
dad in this film. Study it home to his kid. Do you know what? I was like watching it and I was like, oh, the tiny little bit of my brain was like, should have check out for the Bechdel test. And I was like, shut up. It's Con Air. like,
Yeah, it definitely doesn't
um,
pass the Bechdel test. There are, I think,
like
five
there's
female
definitely
characters, one of whom
That
may be
never speak to each
imaginary,
other.
and then
you know
yeah,
what is way more than I expected there to be. Now, granted, they were all there to serve a purpose for a male counterpart, but
oh,
you know,
they
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 were there.
tone it down as well.
Oh, the
Cusack's
script.
assistant, whose name I can't remember. That's how vital she
Yeah.
is to the plot.
Jenny?
Jenny,
No.
thank you. That name fell. No, Ginny. Is it Ginny?
Jenny.
Yeah,
Weasley.
Ginny. Angela Featherstone. In the script, every other line, she's fawning over Cusack's character, and she's, "Oh, I wish he'd see me.
God.
I wanted to." when he they talk about plans for the weekend, and he walks away, and she like mumbles to herself, "Oh, why can't you just ask me out?" Well, I can't. She does. They do improve it from the script. It could have been worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only ones that talk to each other are mother and daughter, and all they talk about is your dad's coming home. It'd be nice for your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I hope he brings me a Barbie. Imagine, that'd be an interesting story. A serial killer's Barbie you stole and gave to your daughter. That's a sequel.
That's
I mean, you'd be traumatized, right? Again, not to try and skip to the end, but I'm gonna skip to the end. Just
away.
yeah, like you're in Las Vegas. There's a plane that has landed. There's horrific accidents all around you. Corpses piling up by the minute. It's dangerous. It's frightening. It's high tension. You're like 5, and this man covered in blood and sand approaches you and hands you this like grotesque, dirty, frightening creature.
He pulled
And
from
he's
the
like,
drain and wiped on his
yeah.
trousers first.
And he's like, it's a little dirty. And it's like, it's a lot dirty. Like, I
As
know
are
this
you,
is
sir.
like, please, John Cusack, get him into the hotel to give him like a shower and a haircut or something before he meets his wife. Like, this place is already far too. And then when they were getting out of the plane, they were like, "That's it, follow your mom, go that way." I was like, "What are they doing here? This is basically a crime scene."
This is an active disaster area. Most of this is on fire. Get back in the helicopter.
Yeah.
I wish he could have said like, "Hey, hummingbird, I ripped that from the hands of a serial killer to give to
Yeah.
you."
He wouldn't put it back in the box. I told him, put it. I'll tell you later.
Yeah, that's like at five, like a couple years later, that's her bedtime story.
This is the thing. She's like, talk about attachment theory and like therapy in the future. Like that's how she. You can just. I want the movie where she's sat across from the therapist, being like, "Yeah, and that's kind of how I met my dad. It was crazy, and in hindsight, my mom really shouldn't have brought me to the scene."
That's why I'm in
Yeah,
child
we're
protective
not
services now.
talking.
My dad got arrested because he committed many
Literally.
crimes.
You know that guy Baby-O that he saved? Do you know what he's guilty of? They never explain it in this movie. What do you think Baby-O did, Emily? They never
Ooh.
explain what Baby-O did. So what's your theory?
We have a theory.
Well, Baby is the one with diabetes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Michael T. Williams.
Okay. So in 1997, in this movie, I think that the implication is that he's probably innocent and it was some sort of racial injustice that he's in prison.
Yep.
Oh.
Because this is the plane of the worst. So it's got to be something. Like, the theory that we posited was that he was trying to get his hands on some insulin because his main character trait is diabetic, and he broke into the wrong place and ended up accidentally like killing the police commissioner's entire family or something. Just by accident. Didn't mean to.
Be the overreaction to the crime because how America treats people.
Well, just the fact that he's on the worst of the worst plane means that he pissed off someone high up. And he's like, I'm not going to see one of those letters for a long time. So yeah, because the commissioner hates you and is going to take you down. A crime he didn't commit just with a racist system. That also is probable.
He's just at a pharmacy and gets arrested, and then
doing
he's
nothing.
the worst of the worst.
He was carrying a needle to do his insulin, and they assumed it was a gun, so they arrested him. And that's it.
Yeah,
done.
He cut the commissioner, like he cut the mayor in line to get his stuff, and the mayor just got annoyed.
Well, not even that. The mayor tried to cut in, and he was like, "Excuse me, there's a queue," and that's all it took. He just said,
"Hey, watch out now! Watch out now!"
Now he's on Con Air.
And now he's on Con Air.
I'm not guilty. That's what everyone says. No, really, I'm not guilty.
Genuinely. I would have, if I was in that like big boardroom with all the flashy screens, and I know someone sort of mentions it, but I would have pushed it further. I'd have been like, I'm sorry, whose idea was it to put every single one of the absolute worst criminals in America that we've had to all like bring here as well so they can do a slow-mo exit off their little buses onto the plane? Why are we like, if this goes wrong, this goes horribly wrong, which is a brilliant premise for a movie, but a terrible idea in real life.
So I watched Passenger 57 recently, with an episode of it on the show, where they take that premise and make it so much worse by there is a guy who he's been arrested because he's been in charge of plane takeovers. That's all he does is these hostile takeovers of planes, and then they fly him to a prison. And wouldn't you know it, he takes over a plane on the route.
Whoops. Like someone's losing a job over
No
that.
one
like,
could have seen this coming.
Why'd you put this guy on a plane who takes over planes? I thought this one might be different.
Oh God, it's like, I've got Magneto here. Do you want me to just hand him a bunch of magnets while we transform to prison? Like, yeah, go for it. What's the worst that's going to happen?
We can trust him. Hey, Magneto, if I put you in this prison, metal prison, are you going to escape? No.
No.
Nah. And just the next day.
Damn it, Magneto.
I would like to be the guard responsible for that. Like, what were you thinking? Like, I don't know. He said he'd be fine.
He said no.
I mean, and also, hey, who is Diamond Dog hitting in this one? Diamond Dog's whipping one of the guys.
He's whipping the guards.
So
the two of the guards are like tied together.
That's what it is.
So he's getting his. But yeah, Diamond Dog, like, seems like a powerful guy would be useful in towing this plane. They're already missing. They're missing Cameron Poe, another guy who would be useful to do this. But I feel like Diamond Dog would be like a good guy to have here because they've got 30.
The main rope.
There's 13 people pulling. Sorry, 13 cons, 2 guards. I'm not sure, there should be a third guard somewhere. I'm not sure where that guard is. There's 13 cons and 2 guards pulling, and a guy on the tractor, and then just dogs just whipping. And do you know how heavy this plane is? This plane
How
is
heavy?
God.
13,560 kilograms, or almost 30,000 pounds. This is a very heavy plane. I don't think these guys would be able to carry this. Just putting it out there.
No.
This is Con Air world, though. These guys are super strong. The worst of the worst are the toughest of the toughest.
Baby O and Bishop, they're still on the plane as well. It's got to add that on there as well. I don't know what else is still on there. But this is it's a big plane. Yes, it's Con Air. Fine, whatever. They're putting the plane on the sand. I don't care.
They're manly men. Well, you're not watching the movie. Everyone in this movie is a big manly man, except for Steve Buscemi, who's like probably really strong, but he always looks weak compared to the other guys on the plane.
Yeah,
He's
But
wiry.
it's that sort of
so
it's
he's
that
not
sort of
helping.
like
Sally can't dance. Isn't on. She's off doing her own thing as well. So they're missing a bunch of people that could be helping it.
Jay, you're very frustrated by this, and I like it.
I do like Vikings come back. He's that rope toss over the wing. That's good up to
Yeah.
MC Gainey has put his shirt back on. He's gotten a little bit chilly
Mhm.
since the last chapter where he was digging shirtless. And actually, the digging at the start of this chapter, I think it's a little lackluster. You get it? They've been digging for a while, but no one seems to be putting any effort in anymore.
it's very hot. They have been going for
Yeah.
a while. It's very sandy. I would be really stressed. It's like when you're playing hide and seek as a kid and the anxiety starts to take over and you like can't move. Did you ever get that? Where you were like frozen with the pressure of needing
of
to like
hide and seek.
Yeah.
You played much more high stakes games of hide and seek than I did, I think.
Just the like
I don't even remember playing
anxiety.
hide and seek.
Oh no.
I found
There's a lot
the
of
best.
tag.
We played it in. I found the best place in my childhood bedroom where I managed to get up on the windowsill and behind the curtain, which I think I wasn't found there many times. I just my go-to place because it was like a
Just
window
take a
that's
book
halfway up
up
the
there
wall.
and wait.
I feel like if they'd seen the light, so we always used to play it at night time. Huh, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, that was my go-to. Is behind the curtain on the windowsill.
Well, now I know your tricks.
I don't live there anymore, Mark. That's now my 5-year-old nephew's go-to room when he's staying at my parents' house, and I'm not going to go hiding in my nephew's room. That would be weird.
That would be a bit weird.
It's nice to see Ty Granderson Jones featured a little bit in this. He
Yeah.
catches one of the ropes.
Friend
We
of the
we had
show, is that
Ty
in the
on
way?
the show, so
Oh no.
Yeah, he
yeah, we
catches
talked to him
second
about the
rope.
movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're quite efficient in getting this out of there. Like this is a pretty well-oiled group of kind of alphas working together.
A group of men
This
who
is the
do
thing,
not know
you
each other.
think
Yeah.
they'd be terrible at teamwork, but I guess it's the just absolute intention of like we need to like we're gonna escape. Like
Yeah, it's
they're
the
kind
common
of
goal.
pally when they all join and they're all like, "Oh, we got control of the plane," and everyone's like, "Shut up!" Like, wait until we're in the air before you start yelling. God,
It's the
this is why
common
you're
goal.
not in charge.
It's the common goal and the fear of the leaders. I think if they don't want to do something wrong and have Cyrus do whatever he would do to them. He's not
Set
going
you
to
on
have any
fire.
qualms of killing them. Yeah.
I have a quick question about this diner too, Jay.
Yes.
Has anyone eaten there recently, or is this closed? Because it says open, and it looks because there is some stuff on the table. Did everyone in this town just get slaughtered?
Well, there's the old guy hiding under the truck.
Yeah.
Is nearby to
Yeah.
this petrol station because that's where we'll see him soon. That's great. So I reckon he was in the diner and he saw the plane land. Kind of peeked out the window, goes, "Oh, this is bad news. I'm going to go hide now." So I think that's his diner.
Oh, okay. And
'cause,
this
like,
makes me want a movie about Nick Cage's diner. Like, I just want a Nick Cage diner movie.
Oh my God. Nick Cage and his wife and daughter just running a diner, living their best lives.
Him and Andrea Riseborough reteam together and just work a diner for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Have you
Oh
seen
my God,
Mandy?
yes.
No, not yet.
No.
It's insane. Have you seen Mandy, Jay?
Not yet.
Whoa,
Not
it's a
yet.
gnarly. But yeah, she's Mandy in that movie, Andrea Riseborough, and then
I did
Cage
not
is
know
in
she
it.
was in that. I like Andrea Riseborough. So
No, that's so cool.
Now it's a gnarly movie. You might
Richard
message
Brake
me.
and Bill Duke are in this. God damn.
Oh, right. Yeah. And listen, all apologies ahead, but it's gnarly. But it's a sensory blasting, beautiful experience. But it features so much violence and fire and nudity and monologues and chainsaws and
Oh,
maybe some
nice.
beheadings, a lot of cocaine, some acid, a tiger.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Not gonna watch this with the wife. Good.
No,
Okay.
don't.
Sorted.
Oh, wait, now I want a diner movie. Have you all seen To Leslie?
No, not yet.
No, I need
Oh,
to.
okay.
It's on the list.
Got it. I won't say
So
anything.
we've got Moonstruck is the Nick Cage bakery film,
Yeah.
and it could happen to you. She's a diner waitress in that, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean
So
the
that's
infamous Nick Cage diner patron.
yeah. So that's like close to being a Nick Cage diner film as it could happen to you. I think that's as
That's
close
what
as
will
we've
make
got.
him make a remake The Chef with Nick Cage.
Oh yeah.
With John Leguizamo just making grilled cheese around the country.
Yeah, and like, it could be his daughter from Con Air can be his daughter in that. It could be in place of the son.
Listen, we've never
Land real
met. We're
right.
gonna go around the country and make grilled cheese with John Leguizamo. That's a
Done.
movie. That's
Yeah.
a good movie.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Chef is a great
And they
film.
can talk about their plane movies because Leguizamo was an executive decision.
Yeah, why not?
I go way off track, Emily. You probably
No, I love
learned that
it.
with Deep Blue Sea.
Oh,
No,
it's all-
I think that's one of my
it's all
favorite shots
that.
in this movie too. It's very symmetrical. This diner, like centered on him. I love the way that he pivots. There's some quite artistic shots in the last few things, like when Garland Green is walking past the fence, the barbed wire fence. That's like a really good looking shot. And then here, like I feel like the DP earned his money. Actually got to shoot some
Oh,
cool things.
definitely.
It's so bleached out. Like going from Cage in the diner to Garland outside, it's so like stark and bright and pale.
Yeah, it's like they turned the saturation up a bit. All the colors are slightly too much, but also like all of the shots are so like that we get so much close up on faces that we don't really get throughout the rest of the movie. It's, as you say, it's like it's very much its own little world.
Yeah, that shot from his POV is pretty gnarly. I like that one.
I think Buscemi has
Mhm.
the most close-ups in the film of like the camera is 3 inches from his nose, and it's like
Yeah.
just look a little bit down to the left. Don't change it. Don't do anything. Just be you. Just
Just be you.
it's almost mean. Just, we need someone that looks
I
like
know
you,
Super
Buscemi.
Shimmy is like really endearingly, he's really attractive in like
Kind
the
of funny looking.
strangest way. I can't explain it, but I wouldn't kick him out of bed.
I mean, he just has a unique look.
He does. Yeah, he's kind of funny looking. Yeah,
But I've never seen him dressed up. Have you ever seen suited Steve Buscemi?
Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah, I was gonna say Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah, he's basically in a suit the entire time.
Yeah, Nucky. Yeah.
Oh, he's looking pretty slick here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Buscemi's the best. Shall we do a Steve Buscemi draft?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do a Buscemi draft. 5 films each. Emily, you can start.
So I just pick a Steve Buscemi movie that I love.
Yep.
Ghost World.
Oh,
I knew you were going to start with Ghost World. I knew it.
Early ScarJo.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Thor Birch.
Oh yeah, Thora Birch.
Mark?
Cool. Airheads.
Of course. Yeah. And I'm going to take, whenever I get a chance to take it, I take it. Romance and Cigarettes.
Nice.
A film no one else would ever pick ever. And like, he sings
Good
in this
musical.
scene.
Totoro musical with
Right.
Kate Winslet and James Gandolfini.
James Gandolfini singing Barry Manilow. Oh no, sorry, but singing
I've
Burt
been
Bacharach.
meaning to watch it since I was like 15. Like it's been on my to watch list for years.
You want to see Christopher Walken strut down a diner singing Delilah? Watch this film.
Yes.
Of course you do. And like, but Buscemi sings in this chapter, does not sing in the actual musical that he's in. He doesn't get a song.
Singing was featured twice, and this song, "He's Got the Whole Wide World in His Hands," was featured twice in '97. They sang it in Rocket Man too with Harlan Williams.
Nice. I didn't.
Another
pick up on
Touchstone
that.
movie or Disney movie.
They're
Useless
singing it.
facts.
It's in Tootsie as well. It's in Roxanne. It's in
Huh.
Dave.
And Dave.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's the second time Rocket Man has crossed my ears today. Talk about the Harlan Williams film. I don't like. Where else did that come up?
I
can't
love that he had a
remember.
run. He had Half Baked, Rocket Man. There's Something About Mary.
I was listening to a podcast about The Last of Us because Rocket Man is written by Craig Mazin, who made The Last of Us. If you wanna see a real sharp turn in someone's filmmaking career, look at the history of Craig Mazin. He made Chernobyl. He made The Last of Us. He made Scary Movie 3 and 4.
Wow.
The Hangover Part 2 and Part 3.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, we're back to you, Emily. What's your next Buscemi film?
Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gotta be.
good one. That's a good. I love that. I'm gonna do Escape from L.A. because surfboarding Snake Plissken catches him and dives into his convertible.
If anyone was going to take Escape from LA, Mark, it would certainly be you. I'm going to take Miller's Crossing, which I think I've said it before. Buscemi got cast in that one because he could say the dialogue faster than anybody else that auditioned, and he's worked with the Coens.
Nice.
He worked with the Coens a lot ever since, and that was just what got him through the door. Was he could say words quickly.
Nice. Love that. Me again?
Yep.
Reservoir Dogs.
Of course. Great film.
I'm already toast here, so I'm gonna have some fun. I had a movie. Where's it at? I love him in Desperado. He makes me laugh in Desperado. So I'm gonna do that. Robert Rodriguez is one of my favorite directors, so I'm gonna take Desperado.
I still haven't seen Desperado. I've had it on DVD for years.
No, me neither.
It's Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, like Robert. I love Robert Rodriguez. He like, to get El Mariachi made, he had a bunch of people do studies on his body to make money,
testing.
and then his commentaries. Like growing up when I was younger, I guess growing up, I don't have to say when I was younger.
No, you
but
don't.
growing up, I learned a lot about filmmaking from his commentaries and book, and he would always do a cooking class on his DVD. So I'm a huge Rodriguez guy, always will be.
Nice.
I'm going to take a pick. I'm going to take Fargo. I've got two Coens on my list. I don't care. Fargo is just a quintessential Buscemi performance, I think. Your Accomplice in the Wood Chipper. That was the original name for my blog was Your Accomplice in the Wood Chipper. But that was too wordy. Yeah, that was my first idea to name it. I thought, nope, this is too wordy. This is silly. So I changed it to Life versus Life.
Oh,
Yeah, I regret that decision. Back to you.
Monster House.
Oh, yes. Excellent choice. You have the two animated films with monster in the title.
I do.
Does he have any other movies with monster in the title?
He's in Monsters University.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think about the Death of Stalin. Damn it.
Andrea Riseborough.
Yeah, that's a fun film.
I love that movie.
I'm going to take Armageddon, a film that he does sing in. Where he's singing
nice.
Leaving on a Jet Plane. He's got space dementia.
He sings in a bunch of movies,
exists,
doesn't he?
He sings in The Wedding Singer. He sings in. He sings in at least one of the Hotel Transylvania films.
Nice.
He's voiced a lot of monsters, it turns out. Let's
do a bonus episode of ranking Steve Buscemi's best singing scenes.
Oh yeah, that's going to be fun. Okay. Right, your final film. Yeah, your final film.
Can I pick Monsters University?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think he's barely in it, but yeah, sure. I think little kid Randall.
No, he's like.
Yeah, because he's the roommate.
Twist.
Yeah, lose the glasses.
Yeah.
So, like, right now, I actually enjoy the Hotel Transylvania movies. Like, Big Lebowski is still out there.
Yep.
But
I've got two Coens already. I can't take a third, surely.
People can think we're in. So, are you not going to pick Big Lebowski, Jay?
I mean, I've already got Fargo and Miller's Crossing. I feel like I can't.
You can't leave that one out. Can
I feel like
I'm going Dead Don't Die because I'm a big Jarmusch fan. And I love his hat in it. What does his hat say? The Dead Don't Die Buscemi. He has a very funny hat in The Dead Don't Die. I adore that movie. He has
See,
a hat that says, his hat says "Keep America White Again," and the dead don't die. I love Jim Jarmusch.
so I'm sat here thinking that I might take The Incredible Burt Wonderstone over The Big Lebowski. That cannot be. Because everyone knows The Big Lebowski. I love The Big Lebowski. It's a phenomenal film. I love it so much. But everyone knows that one. Whereas The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, a film that kind of got panned, I think it's actually pretty good as comedies go. Uh,
Do it. Live on the
have,
edge, Jay.
have either of you seen The Incredible Burt Wonderstone?
Yeah,
No.
Okay.
that's what the Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
and then Steve Buscemi's the sidekick
yeah,
to.
Buscemi is Steve Carell's sidekick.
Yeah.
And then Jim Carrey comes along as like a David
Okay.
Blaine mentalist, extreme magician who like staples things to his forehead and stuff. And it causes a rift.
God,
And
I've never ever heard of this movie. I'm looking at images now. This is mad. This has never ever come across my radar at all.
it's
Ever. How have I
It's
never
gonna
heard
change
of
your
this
life.
movie?
yeah, I mean lower your expectations, I would say. It's not world breaking, but I mean that's a good thing.
I mean, the
Break the
cast,
world.
look, it just looks like a lot of fun. It looks like Eurovision movie,
Yeah.
pre-Eurovision movie.
Yeah, it's that with less singing and more magic.
Steve Buscemi should be in the next Eurovision movie
Absolutely. He should be in
Oh
every
my God,
movie.
yes.
as an what
You know,
Icelandic belter, like crooner.
Well, they've done Iceland. I
oh
think
my
that
God,
they should
yeah.
have to go somewhere else. He should be like a New Zealand guy or something. Other accents
Sweden?
can do. Yeah. Yeah, why they can
Wait,
be
can New
Swedish.
Zealand enter the Eurovision?
Sure.
No, Australia can. If you're in the
Oh,
Commonwealth, you can.
oh, okay, yeah. Just put him in there and let him belt songs out. So
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus, like her latest song, have him reenact that.
Oh my God. I would pay money to see that.
What's the name of her latest song?
I
The Bruno Mars.
it's not Party in the USA, so that's the only Miley song I can name. So and I don't know that
It's
from Pitch Perfect.
it's
It's
fun, Jay. You should
flowers.
listen to it.
I
I
found myself flowers. It's so good.
Yeah, that's a good line.
I think I know that song, but didn't know it was her. I'm out of touch with music. Have you heard of Rihanna? She's quite good. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
I think
Just-
she's had 14 number one hits in the States, Rihanna.
Oh
She's-
my God.
Yeah, she's blown up. I like that it was just her. People are complaining that it's just her, but like when you have that many number one songs, you can just be you on
Yeah.
stage. I'm afraid of heights, though. That looked terrifying.
I'm still annoyed that when Bruno Mars and Red Hot Chili Peppers performed together, they didn't do a song called The Other Side, because they both have songs called that. And they could have. This frustrates no one but me. It's one of those things. Anyway,
We're getting to know you, Jay. This is wonderful. I like it. I bought
I'm sorry.
Mallory, my daughter, a Red Hot Chili Pepper song because when she was in the NICU, whenever we went to go visit her, it felt like every time for the 2 weeks when we would go drive to see her twice a day, Red Hot Chili Peppers were on satellite radio. So it kind of became fun to, like, she's a little Red Hot Chili Peppers baby because the songs were always playing when we went to go see her. I just
Aw.
thought everyone should know.
Yeah.
I just bought her a Metallica
Yeah, that's
t-shirt too.
cute.
Oh, cool.
She's gonna be a little rocker. She has these like, what was it? Like stonewashed jeans or something? I don't know, but she's gonna look hardcore. I can't wait. Teach her Metallica.
Aw.
I'm trying to think of a good segue away from that. What I can think of. By the way, let's talk about Con Air, but that's not good. So we're not.
Just do it.
it.
Whenever I go off topic, Jay, I'm gonna try to leave breadcrumbs that you can grab. You can follow to get us back on track. So in the middle of things, I'll just say Steve Buscemi, and then you can be like, "Oh, speaking of Steve
Nice.
Buscemi."
Thank you, I appreciate it. So speaking of Steve Buscemi, they do sing. They do sing. He's got the whole world in his hands. I did a little bit of research on that. We already talked about it a little bit. It's been covered a bunch of times, but the one I went and listened to today, it was performed by Sisters of Mercy at the Reading Festival in 1991. So I thought, oh, that's going to be fantastic. I'll check that out on YouTube. It's actually pretty underwhelming. It's just the lead singer of
Aw.
Sisters of Mercy. Like they're playing the song with like the thrashing guitars and stuff, but it's just quite a Route One version of the song that flows into a
Well,
little bit of
the
always on the
song
look
is
on the bright side
quite,
of life.
yeah, the song is quite a Route One song, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's
it's
not
an
really, it's
odd
like the
choice.
national, it's like the British national anthem. You can't really do anything with it. It's like three notes on repeat.
It's an odd choice for a rock band to play live at a festival. I think it just
Yeah, very
didn't
odd.
really work. Didn't really work. But there we go. They tried, so good for them.
Again, do you think they were trying to say anything? If this is his rehabilitation, is he considering religion and God?
Yeah,
Is that coming into his mental state? Or
he's got his own future in his hands, kind of thing. Like it's his
yeah,
decisions that will lead to whatever he does in the future. I don't know. Maybe. I think it's funny that he's singing it later when the plane crashes. I think was the main
yeah,
thought. Like, wait, wouldn't it be great if there was this psychopathic killer who, as the plane's going down, is singing? He's got the horn in his hands. Wouldn't it be hilarious? I think that was the first thought. But we can read
yeah,
into it whatever we like, I guess. It's an art. That's what you can do with art. You can change it.
And then
yeah.
they decided to work back from there. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I think so. Like, what's a song that'd be funny for a con to sing as they're crashing down that a little child would also know and they could sing together in this abandoned derelict swimming pool next to a couple of clementines, chest of drawers in this time travel mind warp memory, whilst the other guys are pulling a very heavy plane out of the sand. Well, yeah, let's work backwards from that.
I bet that's what it was, Jay.
Yeah, I think that we just recreated the conversation. So this scene is infamous. This is like one of the famous scenes from Con Air. It's less than a minute long. I remember this being like a really long sequence between Garland and the girl, but this is it. Like he sits down with her a couple of weeks ago, and then in a couple of weeks' time, there's a broken cup, and then she waves goodbye, and that's it. This is like the Garland Green and the girl, and it's a reachy scene, and it is, but it's less than a minute long.
Well, it's probably such a
Yeah.
shock to the system, right? Like, remember in Psycho, people thought they saw red with the blood going down the drain, even though they didn't. So with this
Yes.
one,
Oh,
I think it's
interesting.
such a shock to the system that you feel like you're living in it for a lot longer. Because you're right, Jay. I remember this being a lot longer than this.
And
So I think,
the script hasn't got much more. In the script, there's a few more lines about when they're talking about coming over for dinner. She's like, "No, you have to make Bob talk. Say like, what are you having for dinner?" And then the Jane or Jill, whatever her character's name is, like, "Oh, we're having burgers and beans." And Bob says, "Oh, I love burgers." It's a little bit more like that, but there's still not. It's not like an extra 20 minutes that I want to see. I want a full scene of these two having like. I want this whole interaction to be in the film, start to
she
finish.
asked him about his
Yeah.
work on Fargo.
Yeah. Are those your real
Oh.
teeth? Just
Did you ever eat people?
have you taken a tooth from every person you've killed?
Is this Manhunter? Did he? No, he didn't take a tooth.
I know,
Oh,
that's
wait.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. It's
Oh.
Bill Levine's character.
Oh my God.
Wait, the Tooth Fairy was the villain in Manhunter, right?
Yes, what's his name?
The big
Uh,
guy.
The guy who was in Last Action Hero.
But he didn't take teeth. Did he?
I mean, he was the truth. Tom Noonan.
Sorry. I just
Francis,
watched that again. Oh my god. I've been on a Michael Mann kick lately, so
Francis Dollarhide. Yeah, the Tooth Fairy. Oh, that's a great
good
film.
Dwayne Johnson movie. All right, Jay. How many cons are in the air? What do we got here?
No cons in there. It's still. I can't remember where we were like 17. I can't remember. I'm kind of not keeping count until they take off again. Um, the
That's
con number
fair.
isn't
We
changing,
lose
so
a couple on the ground in this scene, don't we?
not. Yeah, I think
Or not just yet.
not just yet, but there'll be some deaths soon. I'm trying to find. Yes, 17. There's 18 cons. They're not all in this chapter because we don't see like Sally Condance, but none are in the air. So yeah, 18. 0. Sadly. But Emily, do you have any more thoughts on this chapter or the film as a whole?
It's a great film. Nicolas Cage is very hot. I love Steve Buscemi. Thank you for giving me the scene. I feel like I'm very grateful. It's a very, very good scene. I imagine there's a few scenes where just sort of like some stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah,
Whereas this is like there's like layers here that you can really peel off if you wish, or just look at the surface. So thank you.
I feel like we didn't even actually talk about the dolls. The reason I gave you this chapter.
There's like a Ken that he keeps, and then she's got a very messy haired blonde Barbie.
Is it a Barbie, or is it a Cindy, or is it
Well,
too hard to tell?
yeah, I think it's like one of those, you go to like a newsagent's on the corner and
Okay.
you go to like the toys section and there's like a plastic doll with big eyes and blonde hair, but it's absolutely not a Barbie.
It's a Maud or something. Yeah, okay. It's just a doll.
Yeah, yeah. Sound doll or
It's a
something.
Bobby.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you want to, what have you got to plug? Where can the listeners hear you talking about other Barbie-related stuff?
Yeah, so if you head over to Why This Film Podcast, we're across most social medias, and if you just type that into Google, you'll find us. We look back on the movies of your childhood, and within that, we are working our way through In a Barbie World, where we're doing every single Barbie movie that has ever existed, and there are bloody tons of them. We're all very excited
surprisingly.
about June 23rd as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's got to be
Oppenheimer.
hundreds of them. Like
Yeah.
with all the direct to DVD.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
the Barbie Cinematic Universe has about 3 phases, I believe. We're halfway through phase 2. I'm being deathly serious here. Like
Cheers.
fully, there are phases where things shift and choices are made, and animation style changes and intentions change. And the quality has just been going up and up and up. They are getting funnier and gayer every time. I love them to pieces. They are definitely worth a watch, and a lot of them are on Netflix now. So do check them out and then come and listen to me and Stephen talk about them.
Is there one primarily set in the air, like on a plane or anything? Is like a Barbie? What's the most similar to Con Air film in the Barbie franchise?
Okay, so the most recent one was Barbie: A Perfect Christmas, which wasn't great, not gonna lie. The quality did dip there. However, they opened the film getting on a plane to New York. They experience turbulence, and then the plane like breaks down, and they have to get off in like Massachusetts and drive, and they end up in like Santa's workshop or whatever. But yeah, so they get on a plane, and then the plane stops working. So there you go.
That'll do. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And I was a guest on your show a couple of years ago at this point to talk about Daylight, if you want to hear me and you talking about another film.
About disaster movies that I then checked out, the disaster movie that you suggested in that episode recently.
The Poseidon Adventure,
and,
yes.
Started harassing you on Twitter halfway through watching it.
Yes, you were quite upset about characters dying. Yes.
I was so upset. I'm so sick of watching these disaster movies and having all these characters die on me. What are they playing at?
It's always the women. It's
always the women.
Well, see, that's why Con Air is better, because no women die. Because they're just not in the film.
Yeah, they get kind of like threatened and nearly assaulted.
Yeah.
Well, they do get assaulted. They nearly get sexually assaulted.
But they don't die.
But yeah, they're generally okay.
Yes. And that's all that counts. Mark, what have you got to plug?
Yeah, just the Movies, Films, and Flicks podcast, and then the Deep Blue Sea podcast. We're continuing our Deep Blue Scene series of Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, and Jurassic World Dominion. We have episodes of that coming out soon.
Do indeed. And you can.
And I have a fun episode with DJ Valentine. We just talked about our favorite John Wick moments. So you can listen to that at Movies, Films, and Flicks.
Fantastic. Emily's been a guest on Deep Blue Sea a few times, talked about Deep Blue Sea 2, and then Shark in Venice, Ghost Shark. Some of my favorite episodes.
And that thingy. Oh, look at that thingy.
I think Emily has the longest episode on Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, talking about Shark in Venice. We talked for a long time about that wonderful, terrible film.
Hey, she's really smart.
I
love that one. She's really smart.
You know how many people I've recommended Shark in Venice to since watching that?
It's so good.
I haven't told them it's terrible. I just recommend it and then wait for their reaction. So Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. Listen over there. You can find me once a month hosting Lampardy over on the Lambcast, movie trivia based on Jeopardy. And my personal site is lifeversusfilm.com. You can follow the podcast at ConAirPod on Twitter and Instagram. And that'll do it for Con Air Chapter 28. So thank you once again to our guest, Emily Slade.
Thank you.
For Con Air Chapter 28, I've been Jake Lewitt.
And I'm Mark Hoffmeyer.
Come back next week or the bunny gets it.
Sigh.
Anara!